If you're like me and you think Season 3.5 of Marvel Rivals has got insanely sweaty and you need the best possible chance of ranking up and solo carrying your games by yourself, then this video is the right video for you. We're going to go over 6 heroes, 2 in each category, that are going to allow you the best chance at solo carrying your games. It doesn't matter which rank you're playing in. And we're going to explain how you kind of want to use each of these heroes as well, and the reasons why they are your best chance at solo carrying each of these games. So starting off with DPS first, and we have the Phoenix. Now what the Phoenix is great at inside Season 3.5 of Marvel Rivals is outputting tons of damage and tons of damage down range. Now there's only 2 things you actually need to focus on when you're playing Phoenix inside Marvel Rivals, and that is your aim and your repositioning. If you get 2 of those things down, you're pretty much going to be one of the best Phoenix players in the game. That is the only 2 things you seriously need to focus on. Now what's also really good about Phoenix, and the reason why she's one of the best solo carry heroes in the game, is that she can actually self-sustain herself with healing as well. So as long as you're landing those shots consistently, you're going to be able to heal yourself up, and she's one of the only few DPS heroes that are able to do that in the game. But what makes her different to other heroes, like let's say for Iron Fist for example, who can also do this, and Blade kind of also can heal himself as well, you really need to be super close range with Iron Fist and Blade. You need to be up close in the fight, and 90% of the time you're going to be dying trying to achieve staying alive. Whereas Phoenix, you can just sit back, relax, pick your shots, play like a hella player, but make sure you're repositioning well, and you've got a lot of escape tools as well, which makes Phoenix obviously a lot easier to play. But like I said, you can heal yourself up very safely. Now you can play a little bit more aggressive if you want to, but that is not necessarily the most optimal way to play this hero. Not to mention that her ultimate is also really powerful. Now it's not the best DPS ult in the game by any means, but it's definitely really good to combo with other ultimates, which is one thing. But the other thing is it does deal a good amount of damage. You just need to be making sure that no one's shooting you down as you're flying around picking your spot. But before you do that, you should be trying your best to get every hero as low HP as possible so you can get some easy wipes. She's also got anti-dive built into her as well, into the kit, whereas you could just kind of phase away with her phase teleport ability from Black Panthers or even Spider-Man's trying to sticky web you. So you've got tons of outplay potential there, and obviously her flying ability not only allows you to reposition but allows you to dodge certain attacks. So the second DPS hero is Psylocke. Now why is Psylocke so good? Because the flanking playstyle inside Season 3.5 of Marvel Rivals is so good to play right now. Being able to poke shots in the enemy's backline is one of the most important things to do, and that is obviously why we've seen a rise of Black Panther and Spider-Man and dive players. But why is Psylocke better than the rest is because she's super versatile. That is the main part of Psylocke that makes her just so well-rounded in this game. She has tons of survivability, but not in the way of self-healing, kind of like we have with the Phoenix, but she's got a lot of escape tools, right? She could dash away, she can go invisible, all that kind of thing. But also why she's so versatile is because she could poke shots in the enemy's backline from range, and that is from behind the enemy, or she could even poke shots in front and play with her own front line. And then also she has the ability to dash in and deal extra damage that way as well. So all of that combined just make her super versatile to play. She can choose whether she wants to dive in or not, and that is why Psylocke is one of the better choices. Now what also makes her really good is the team up with Emma Frost. I think that makes her even better and adds another layer to her kit and just makes her even more evasive to try and kill. And I think she's just super quick in terms of a playstyle as well. It's kind of hard to hit Psylocke when she's running around and dashing all over the place. And that is why I think Psylocke is incredibly good. We've all had a game where we've played when we have a decent Psylocke on our team and they're just poking shots at the enemy's backline, and we are able to pick off the players a lot easier, and that is what Psylocke provides in these kind of games. So like I said, Psylocke is just really good, not to mention that her ultimate is probably one of the better ultimates in the game, especially kind of using it in the enemy's backline. It's going to force them out of positions where they don't really want to be in, and that is why Psylocke is just incredibly powerful. Overall, I think she's just one of the best heroes in the game right now. Next up, we've got the Vanguard category, and we've got Doctor Strange. Now, what makes Doctor Strange so good in terms of a solo carry tank inside Marvel Rivals and that is the fact that he's actually super easy to play off of. So other players know how to play with the Doctor Strange. He's a shield tank. It's pretty straightforward, and it's a playstyle that has kind of stayed within the game for the whole entire of the 3 seasons. So that's the first thing, obviously. And then the second thing is that he's just actually super versatile as well. Kind of similar to Psylocke. He's only one of the tanks that can kind of fly to some extent, and having that in this game right now, especially when the Human Torch is a powerful hero and Iron Man is kind of always used as well, I think having Doctor Strange on your team, being able to fly up there with them is incredibly useful. Not to mention his AoE damage is just incredibly strong when it comes to dealing with any dive heroes, so he can also deal with dive as well, which makes him really good too. And not to mention his portal tech can always help save the game, right? So it depends on whether you want to get to the overtime point a lot quicker, or whether you're trying to get a couple of kills at the start of the match faster, or whether you're just trying to block off areas of the map, which is a new way of people that are trying to use the Doctor Strange portals. It's just a really cool piece of tech that no other hero really has in this game at the moment. This is something super unique to Doctor Strange, and I think he's just an incredibly solid hero. Now, not to mention that his ultimate, the Eye of Agamotto, is probably one of the best team combo ultimates in the entire game, where if you combo the Eye of Agamotto with another ultimate, you're almost guaranteed to at least kill 2 to 3 enemies if done correctly. And that is why I think Doctor Strange is just one of the best solo carry tanks in the entire game. Not to mention that he's also really tanky as well, so he just stays alive, and that kind of survivability aspect is definitely welcome in a solo carry hero. The next solo carry tank is Captain America. Now, you probably did not expect this one, but if you think about any games you've played where you've played with a really good Captain America player on your team, and he's able to kind of dive the backline constantly of the enemy team and just cause them so much disruption, and you're able to get easy picks on the enemy players, then that is the kind of value you get with Captain America. But why is he such a good solo tank? Now, he could be the only tank on the team, and he can also be the only diver on the team. And what's good about Captain America is, even at that, he can survive the whole entire time in the enemy backline, which makes him incredibly powerful. If you think about other dive tanks like Venom and Hulk, for example, both of those heroes die really quickly, even though they've got larger health pools. But Captain America stays alive so much longer because he's got way more mobility, way more kind of evasiveness, and also he's just way more tanky as well with the shield, and that is what makes him super useful at staying alive in the enemy backlines and just providing that tons of disruption. He's not going to get tons of kills, but you can still get decent kills if you know his animation cancel combos. But overall, he's just a really good tank, man. And like I said, he can easily carry teams if played correctly. Now, that's the only issue with Captain America, is that it does require a bit of skill to actually learn his kit and understand what kind of value you can get with this hero. But one thing I do want to mention is that his ultimate is absolutely insane. It's basically another support ult, which keeps not only Captain America alive in the tougher stages of the fights, but it also can keep his teammates alive as well. So it acts as almost a third or even fourth support ultimate for your team, which I think is just absolutely insane. Captain America is really powerful right now in season 3.5. Next up is the solo carry strategists, and up first we've got Cloak and Dagger. Now, the reason why Cloak and Dagger is one of the best solo carry strategists in the game, first of all, we'll talk about Cloak first. Because he outputs so much damage, similar to what you get with Scarlet Witch and its lock-on damage as well, they can easily deal with dive heroes with no problem. And I think that's why Cloak and Dagger is one of the best strategists in the game, because you can keep yourself alive essentially for the most part. Not to mention that Dagger as well outputs some of the best healing in the game, and that is because it's constant. Because it's lock on, you're never going to be missing a heal or anything like that, and sometimes a lower percentage of constant healing is way better than having a Luna Snow that is potentially missing all their shots, even though they have a better healing output. And that is why I think Cloak and Dagger is one of the best supports in the entire game right now, is that you just get that overall good healing and also good damage output, and just the ultimate as well is pretty strong too right now. It's not the strongest support ult in the game by any means, but it's definitely one of the better ones, and if you can combo some extra damage in there with another ultimate, then you're definitely going to be doing extremely well with Cloak and Dagger. And I think the fact that it's one of the easier heroes to play definitely plays a factor as well, because every single one of the abilities is lock on. And then not to mention, keeping yourself alive with Cloak and Dagger is super easy, especially if you're playing alongside your teammates. If you're splashing your heals off of your teammates and keeping yourself alive as Dagger, you're going to be staying alive tons, especially during team fights. And I think that's the most important time to stay alive, unless you get caught out and singled out by yourself. That is the only way you're really going to die with Cloak and Dagger, and that is why they're the best solo carry support in the game. Now, the next support player that is an easy solo carry is Loki. Loki's by far one of the best supports in Season 3.5 in general. And what makes him so good is that when he has his clones active, he is one of the best supports and DPS in the game as well combined. So you do need to make sure you take out his clones if you're playing against the Loki. But if you're playing Loki, you want to make sure you position your clones in good spots where you're going to be dealing tons of damage and tons of healing. Now, it's all AoE based as well, which means it's easier to heal with Loki than someone like Luna, for example. And I do think Loki is a little bit easier to play now. More people are getting to master him and learn how to use him, which is obviously very, very good, but he does still require a bit of skill, which is why he's not as popular in my opinion as maybe Cloak and Dagger is. And he's got tons of escape tools, right? He's got his lamps, which not only keep his teammates alive, but also can keep him alive throughout the duration of a dive. He's also got his snap, where he can snap to a different clone and escape that way. And he's also got his invisibility, where he can easily pull off some good flanks on the enemy team as well. And all of that combined together just makes a really good, well-rounded strategist that people find really tough to actually kill in this game. But Loki is not an easy hero to kill by any means. So like I said, Loki is one of the best solo carry support strategists in the game. And also his ultimate is probably one of the best right now, because essentially it's a Luna Snow ultimate 90% of the time if you're playing in the higher ranks. So if you're able to get double Luna Snow ultimates in your game, or even copy the enemy's Luna Snow ultimate as well, that is always a really good way to use Loki's ultimate, which makes it one of the best ultimates in the game. So overall, Loki is probably the best strategist hands down, and that is why he's one of the best solo carry strategists in the game. So there we have it. Those are the 6 solo carry heroes for Season 3.5 in each of the categories. If you enjoyed this video, then don't forget to subscribe to the channel, by the way, as we'll be making way more content on Marvel Rivals, especially on the lead up to Season 4. I did need a bit of a break from this game, but we're back into making content because I do enjoy playing this game a ton. And thank you very much for watching.